All right, guys, game one coming up. And here we are. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game one of a best of 5 show match. I believe it's best of 5. They might play all 5 games, but either way, we're going to have amazing games here. I am going to roll with team colors to start this one off. We have Viper in the blue in the north of the map playing as the Britons versus Liereyy, who's in the south, also playing as the Britons. So the way this works, and Liereyy needs to finish that house. That's slightly annoying. The way this is set up for the day, and I know YouTubers will probably see this in the future, is we have 5 different games. The first one is a 1v1 between Viper and Liereyy. The second one is a 1v1 between between Nikov and Tato. The third one is then a 1v1 between Tato and Liereyy. And the fourth is Nikov and Viper. And then the final game is a 2v2. So basically, we're going to have different 1v1 matchups, all with mirror civilizations on Arabia. And this is in promotion of the Battle of Africa tournament coming up, which is a 3v3 tournament. I'm super pumped for it. So both playing as Britons, so they both have the same advantages here. And we'll talk about the maps. So the first thing I saw when I saw Lierey's base was this giant hill on the front. I don't know if this is really symbolic of Africa at all. I don't know if there's giant craters in Africa like this, but he is in a crater, which is never good, especially against the Viper. He has a wood line here, and a wood line here, and a wood line here to choose from. Choosing the one in the back now because it's safer. And he does have a safe gold. The issue will be the main stone is very far forward. The other stone I'm still struggling to find. Yeah, that's up here on this hill. So while he does have this gold to retreat to way in the back, and this one here too, just the wood situation, the map control situation could be very difficult with all these hills. So you look at Viper's base, and this is a bit better for him. Now the one thing I'll say is that most of his wood lines are going to be ranged, but potentially by towers or by like any ranged units because they're forward. Scouts fighting here, Liereyy has to run away. Good job from Viper to pay attention. He has his main stone and gold on the back, also on a hill, but this hill won't be too much of an issue because it's so far behind everything here. So if you don't know much about these new animals, I'll explain. The goats are basically the sheep replacement, and then you have the elephants, which are the boar replacement, though the elephants have more food, so that's always nice. Then there are zebras, which it looks like one has already been lured in. The zebras are the deer replacement, and that has the same amount of food. So it's not often I see this civilization in a 1v1 mirror matchup. Viper slightly housed there for a moment. Both players just getting online, so they might be a bit rusty. I think with these civilizations, you're probably going to see a lot of archers, right? So if you're going to see a lot of archers, naturally you're going to see skirmishers to counter that. Siege workshops maybe, but probably not too many because the amount of range you'll find on these archers. I will say that I've seen enough games in Britain's War that have gone into the Imperial Age, and if we get to the Imperial Age, it tends to be very, very slow at that stage, just because of the weapons that the Civ has. It just makes it very, very slow and campy. So I'll be interested to see what the engagements will be. So Viper just now scouting Lierey's base, trying to figure out what's going on here. He sees the hill, guys. He sees the hill. He sees the stone and the stone, so he might consider being aggressive. That's the one thing you don't see too often from Viper, is where he goes forward and aggressive. He tends to stay at home. Uh-oh. Woo! That elephant almost killed that villager. And there's the barracks for Liereyy. Viper probably doing the same. Yep. And this might be man-at-arms into archers, drush into archers. I shouldn't even say archers. If you know that your opponent has strong archers, it's better to start with skirms. So we'll probably see a lot of skirms here in Feudal Age. But I don't know if anyone's going to choose to go with any type of militia or man-at-arms action. Oh, Viper trying to be sneaky in, walling that scout. A little bit too slow. That seems like this will be man-at-arms start for Viper. And, oh, Lierey's going to drush. Lierey's going to drush, and this is a rather late drush. Also a drush that Viper might be able to see. Well, it's something he has not seen yet. Interesting decision here. There will be one more militia coming out of this barracks. I don't know how I feel about Lierey's choice to drush here. So a drush is a Dark Age rush, and normally that is with militia. This is so late that Viper might assume these are going to be upgraded to man-at-arms, and he'll probably wait at home to engage. So the idea behind this is to delay your opponent with a relatively cheap unit, and then build up your economy at home. That's why Liereyy has multiple lumber camps. He's able to add farms, but he's going to feudal a little bit later because of that. Now, in a Britain's War, this is actually not bad, because what he wants to do is he doesn't want to go to gold heavily. He wants to go into 2 archery ranges in feudal and go skirmishers, I imagine. The downside will be if Viper's waiting here. If Viper gets man-at-arms and has a lot of man-at-arms left with good HP, then he can push those skirmishers. So this will be important. Also, even the scouts will be important. Viper has a little bit more HP on his scout here, so he should win any fight. I don't think Liereyy wants to take an engagement once man-at-arms comes in, but he's just going to try and keep Viper at home right now, which is a nice victory for him currently. Oh, and very close to losing his scout. Looked away for a moment, I imagine. Viper's walling up here, so this is a very good map once he gets the walls going. And these units are trapped. But Viper's getting man-at-arms, which is an offensive move, and he has not been able to push out because of Lierey's drush here, so I do like the move. Michael Blackbow, welcome to the stream. How much money is on the line for this set? Eldry, I do not know. I do not know. I just heard about this the other day and decided to change up my stream schedule for this. So it looks like Lierey's going to lose his scout and Viper going to keep his alive. Liereyy realizing, yeah, I'm not going to win this. Let's just run away. It would have been a nice victory if he killed Viper's scout, but that is not the case. So, you know, as expected, we have skirmishers from Viper. Now, Liereyy, he might be forced to make a few archers because of the man-at-arms. The skirmishers don't do much to man-at-arms, but again, he's had the time here. He has his archer ranges on the way up, and we'll see what he can do. Now, I will say that Viper seems to have a little bit of a head start with his skirm production. He already has the 3 man-at-arms, and they're on full HP. Here come the skirms now for Liereyy. You can just see that he doesn't quite have the resources for all of this. He's added 1 archer, which I think would be enough if he has skirms as well. The Viper definitely has the better production. Viper says 200. Okay, interesting. So basically 100 for each player on the team. There's 2 players involved. Yeah, Nikov and Liereyy are the best for Aftermath, and I would say currently Tato and Viper are the best for TyRanT, so a pretty cool matchup. So again, as expected, just pretty much full skirms. I don't know if you guys remember, but Liereyy is incredibly good at microing skirmishers in skirm versus skirm battles. He out-microed the Viper multiple times in the King of the Desert final. You can find those videos on YouTube. It was pretty sweet. Now here, Viper's just going to try and hold map presence. He does have a pretty good map, so he wants to just hold map control so he can get his walls up and, you know, take his zebra safely. Both players have been doing that, actually. But yeah, Liereyy has more numbers now. The man-at-arms are going to be less and less useful as the numbers mass, especially if Viper runs into those lions, which I would absolutely love. Dave pointed out that the lions look so happy. We have to pay attention to that next time. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see that here. Oops, wrong player. Yep, look how happy they are. They seem so happy. It's a shame they have to die. Now, this actually annoys Viper big time. He's losing massive amount of HP on this skirmisher because of the lion. And, yeah, it's going to go down to half HP. He has no archers here or anything, and skirmishers at minimum range. That's a bit unfortunate for Viper. Viper building his blacksmith. Look how he can wall this off. Again, the issue will be the fact that once Castle Age comes in, all of these villagers can be ranged. But still, for now, they're completely safe. This is a very good base for him. Now, one thing I noticed in watching these games is certain players are very particular with how many skirmishers they make. Like, Viper has less now, and he also doesn't have fletching. It is Viper, so he's getting fletching now, and you would think, okay, he has a plan for this, but sometimes people create too many skirmishers or too few skirmishers. If you create too many you don't need, then you delay your castle time, and your opponent can counter you easy in the next stage. You'll see Liereyy is here. He has 1 archer, and he does have fletching, so Thinking about 3 shots, he could probably kill Vils. So he's delayed there, but he's also trapped himself. At Viper, he has the man-at-arms here. Now, Liereyy microing. We kind of misfired there, but he's killed 3 skirmishers so far. 4 skirmishers so far. The KD seems slightly better for Liereyy, even though he's trapping himself. You got to consider the man-at-arms are not contributing too much, except forcing Liereyy to run away. Well, they will slowly get shot down here. So that was better for Liereyy, in my opinion. Again, Viper doesn't seem too interested in pushing out too much. He does have some archers, which he might try and counter with, because he can't go anywhere near the skirms. But better micro from Liereyy there. Maybe it had something to do with the fact that he had padded archer armor, and Viper did not. And Viper, as you can see, sending his villagers and skirmishers back towards his base. And yeah, he's going to try and counterattack with the archers. So if there's a hole in Liereyy's walls, that'll be really unfortunate for him. Like here, he hasn't checked this, so archers could run in. On the front, he's full walled. On the back, he's full walled here. Just saw your YouTube classic Doubt with skirms. yeah, Doubt would be proud of the skirmisher numbers here. Oh, and this is interesting. Liereyy kills 1 Vil. What does he not see here? He does not see that stable. I think Viper feels like he's behind. Of course, a few scouts would do good for Viper here to kill these skirms. The problem then would be Liereyy can just add archers. He's already going to start transitioning into those archers, I imagine. That's a lot of skirms. And again, Liereyy has no clue that is there. Viper put that stable in the perfect position to hide that. Liereyy might expect this, but he has a lot of low HP skirmishers. Viper may be waiting for the trap there. Gonna have units in his archer ranges as well. And wouldn't you know it, here comes Viper. Like, this is just such luck for Viper to be able to get archers in here. He can kill plenty of villagers with fletching. He can kill so many Vils. Like, you gotta check those things if you're Liereyy. And at the same time, Viper's thinking about pushing out with his scouts. Liereyy does not see that. In come the archers. Let's see how many villagers Viper can kill. There's 1. It will be 2 and probably 3 here. And it's going to force a massive idle time here at Lierey's base. Actually, yeah, he's lost 3 villagers. Our own archers coming back now for Liereyy. Everything is falling apart because the scouts will show up from Viper. Meanwhile, archers from Viper just running away. Liereyy taking some losses that really should not have happened there. A nice shot from Viper to recognize, okay, I can't have the archers in the main engagement. I'm going to go out on a counterattack instead and hope for the best, and it worked out for him. So the idea now is Viper's going to have scouts with a defense upgrade, with an attack upgrade. Liereyy does not see them. And if he can kill these skirmishers, then his archers can do a lot of work. And there's not a lot of archers for Liereyy in that army. Also, he's not heavy on gold, so I don't know if he's expecting this. He's on his way to Castle H, so this would be the time for Viper to take an engagement. And he wants to. You can just see that Liereyy keeps hitting this wood line. So constantly Viper is just going back and forth on this wood line. Now he's sending the scouts this way. I guess Liereyy will finally find out the scouts exist here in a moment once this army dies. But Liereyy is the first to Castle H. Understandable that Viper's Castle H would be delayed big time because he's invested so much food into the scouts, the forging upgrade, and the scale barding upgrade. And now Liereyy knows, and he can quickly, before his units die, click these units and see the upgrades. Well, Viper's eco is really bad. 800 gold floating, that is not good. He's going to use the market to balance that out. Lierey's just going to go into knights. So I don't think Liereyy has taken huge losses here. I mean, he's lost 3 villagers, of course. But he's going to keep his skirmishers alive. He's going to hit Castle H first, can get elite skirm, go into crossbow and go into his own knights. It's just important that he doesn't receive any damage until he hits Castle H. He will potentially... Don't tell me there's a hole between the houses. Okay, there's no hole. I was going to say, he will potentially have a hole here. He will throw away 1 villager. Back comes the skirmishers. Oh, this is going to be close because the house wall, not enough here. Liereyy needs to run villagers away. Viper has so many archers. We know what he can do. But here are the skirms now from Liereyy. Okay, Viper. Both players playing a little bit sloppy by their standards because it's their first game they played today. Viper kills 2 Vils. I don't think that Viper wants to stay here because of the skirms. But luckily, he killed 2 Vils and he forced more idle time. It is currently 77 population for Liereyy because he has 12 more military, but Viper has 5 more villagers. If you're interested, you can see all of that on the overlay. So Elite Skirm will come in for Liereyy. Does he have the resources for it? Currently, yes he does. And he also has Knights. I want to see if Viper spotted the stables. See, Viper also didn't spot the stables. But I don't think the Knights will be too much value for Liereyy, seeing as there's mainly archers for Viper. Absolutely wonderful game to start this one off. Guys, if you are just getting here, I will explain the settings. I see the questions. I will explain the settings in between the next game. A crossbow and bodkin for Viper, so he's going to get that additional range. And he's kept his army out here. He probably wants to run in here again. These are only palisade walls, so he could do that. He will have that Britain range. And again, he recognizes that Liereyy has his army forward. Now, Liereyy will also be able to get in here if Viper doesn't have anything. It's interesting that both players are going aggressive now. They don't have a lot of defense. Viper might regret that. Now he sees the skirmishers from Liereyy. He cannot stay here with his crossbows. Not enough crossbows to really help him anyhow. And Liereyy, I think, continuing with Knights now because he has the upgrade. He knows Viper might be having his own Knights for these skirms, so it's good to mix them in. And here comes Viper. So Viper looping around. He's found that this has been re-walled, but he's going to just shoot his way through. The skirmishers and Knights at Viper's base. About 10 idle villagers for Viper. And you're going to see idols now for Liereyy. Now, Liereyy added an extra town center here, so this does protect his woodline a little bit. But all of these villagers here are still exposed. Same for Viper. A lot of exposed villagers on the eco. And this will really test the ability from both players to deal with crazy situations. A Viper's going to need a Mangonel, but that could easily not work out for him. We're going to need elite skirmishers from Liereyy. And that should be easier for Liereyy to do, but Liereyy losing villagers and having a lot of idle time here. Here are the skirmishers. Now, it's interesting. Britain crossbows and castle age have 8 range. The skirmishers will only have 7 range. But I talked earlier about how Liereyy likes to micro his skirmishers. This could be great, or this could be awful for him, because the Mangonel's here. Of course, he's going to have... Oh, sorry, bumped my mic. The Knights here. And still, I think it's worth it to stick around. He just needs to focus on Viper's Knights. Lots of idle time for Viper. He hasn't taken any losses except for that Mangonel. The Knights are wedged in against the skirmishers. Lierey's Knights, while the numbers are dropping. Skirms ventured in so far into Viper's base. Look at Viper trying to keep his crossbows alive. Liereyy going to try and get value from these skirms before they die. I'd say advantage Viper there, but it's still a very close game. 2 TCs for both players. No, Viper's still on 1. Okay, interesting. But now Viper's going to have a lot of map control. He has the crossbows on the backside. He's killed 2 more villagers. This army's gotten so much value. And now there's very little army left for Liereyy. So giving Viper that type of advantage, or giving Viper the opportunity to get that advantage by going so aggressive was a mistake here for Liereyy. And he's going with the ideal composition as well. Like, he has more upgrades on his Knights, and he has crossbows. Skirmishers, well, they didn't do too much. I think what Liereyy was hoping for was that Viper wouldn't have a lot of numbers, and that he could keep his skirmishers alive by using the Knights to kill the Mangonel. But no, that is not the case. Now, Viper just going to use his extra range in his hill to keep Liereyy defensive. And he's going to continue to push this advantage home now, I think. More crossbows on the way. That Mangonel's coming forward. He's going to make more Knights, I think, to counter these skirms, because that's all Liereyy is really making, Knights and skirms. And now the Crater comes into play. Like, Liereyy has an awful map for this. Like, you know how good Viper is. Both these players are, like, kind of know what's going on. Liereyy really needs to clean this up. And, oh, there's a hole here, and Viper could run right in. This is so unfortunate for Liereyy. Again, Viper has more upgrades on the Knights. Every time Viper gets attacked, he runs away. He runs right back in when Lierey's not paying attention. Yeah, it's not looking very good for Liereyy. This does give Viper an opportunity to add more economy back at home. Liereyy has a few more villagers, so he's had more idle time. Viper cleaning up all the Knights but 1 from Lierey's base. And Liereyy is slowly but surely getting suffocated here by the Viper. Now, Viper is adding his 2nd town center. Oh, I'm sorry, that's his 3rd. His 2nd one was just added, so he'll be on 3. And I really don't think that Liereyy, as he loses his monks here, 2 monks down, I really don't think that he can build another TC. Like, where is he going to go? He needs to fight this. And luckily for him, he's used his knights to focus down that Mangonel. But look how bad this is. Knights from Viper in. Crossbows up on the hill. Now the monks are just here to convert knights every now and then. But Viper has the crossbows. They're going to kill those monks. This will be the third monk down. Can Liereyy find his way out of this hole? He has more vills, but he's just lost 3 more. I think the engagement that won the game for Viper was the engagement from Liereyy right here. You could say if it was a good engagement for Viper or a bad engagement for Liereyy. I don't know. I guess opinions will differ on that. It's not over. It's not over. Because Liereyy has the skirmishers again. He's going to try and micro down crossbows. Well, hold on a second. He's just gotten 2 conversions of the knights. The crossbows dying to the skirmishers now. This is still somehow doable for Liereyy. If anyone's going to climb out of this, it will be him. Also, he counterattacked with a few archers, which was funny. I killed a Viper Vill or 2 and caused idle time. I don't want to call it just yet. Chat. The Viper has a healthier economy. Also, he's heavy on stone to build a castle. Most likely, he'll want that castle here to protect all of his golds and stones, because these are forward golds. Again, I still think Viper's position is ideal because he has stronger military, but Liereyy is so fast, he can get conversions on the knights now, and he has the skirmishers for the crossbows, and now he's getting +2 defense on knights. Interesting. You know, the more knights you make as Britons, the weaker you will be later on. Same concept applies to what Viper did in Feudal Age, where he delayed his Feudal Age time. This will delay your Imperial time to be going with knights. I don't think either player knows what's going on here. Viper just finding now that the knights are forward and the skirms are forward. He's still choosing to go around this way. Lierey's patrolling with a few skirms that will die to those knights. But Viper again has pretty exposed wood line. 1 villager down already. Could lose more, and also his gold is still exposed there. So this has been happening all game, where both players go out and attack, and then they try to defend and not take big losses at home. It is more difficult for Liereyy because of his map to be playing this game. Now, Viper does need to fall back to his hill. Might even build his castle more defensive than I thought, because he doesn't have map control here. Now again, Liereyy taking losses, but he still has the Vill lead. He just doesn't have great map control and great saturation of his resources. It's very messy. Viper getting husbandry. He's massing more knights now. But there's 4 monks from Liereyy. I mean, Briton monks are not amazing, but Liereyy is so fast, he can oftentimes get conversions in these situations. Yeah, Viper's building the castle here to protect his gold. And Liereyy decides, you know what? I kind of want to fight this, or maybe he's undecided because he's just given Viper a lot of free hits. Now, Viper doesn't know about the monks, does he? Well, now he does. He's going to run away before he gives up any free conversions, and his castle should go up. So Lierey's going to have to run away. And that was perfectly timed from Viper, wasn't it? To go on stone, so if this situation came about, he would be safe at home so he could be aggressive forward. He's killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 villagers I've just heard go down. And he only lost a few crossbows. Gonna commit with this knight versus the monk. Kills the monk before any conversions. A messy game for both players. Viper not close to the Imperial Age. Liereyy still adding monks forward. And Liereyy has good map control. Look at this. 2 golds here and a stone. Viper's gonna have to push that back. And he's coming back home to do so. So this game's incredibly close. The score was a bit deceiving. Liereyy has 50 military, 87 vills. Viper has 30 military, 88 vills. Viper has idled economy here as well. This TC has been denied. Lots of villagers dying now. He needs to approach these Mangonels. The Mangonels are going to be great here. The Viper forced to come back home. So there's going to be 3 Mangonels. What is that? 7, 8 monks now. Knights, skirmishers from Liereyy. What isn't he making right now? I don't see Viper being able to go to the Imperial Age without a big fight. And I don't think Viper can counterattack now. It's so tough to calculate just how many units you need forward, how many units you need defensive, but certainly now Viper needs everything back at home. Viper's taking the better engagements with his fights, but then again, Liereyy has all the counters here. He has the monks to convert the knights. He has the skirmishers to kill the crossbows. The mangonels can help. Viper maybe going to go into his own skirmishers now. Yes, he is. And don't know if he's considering light cav, but he's just created a scout here. His own mangonel did kill Lierey's. Liereyy going to have to be careful of that, but he killed the TC. And he has an amazing area on the map. In fact, he's building a forward town center. Lierey's on the way to the Imperial Age. This is so similar to what we saw in Feudal. Viper, he extended his Feudal Age longer, got good map control going into Castle Age. This time, will Viper be able to do that? Because Liereyy has so many military numbers. I don't know if Viper will be able to kill this and get an advantage before Liereyy hits Imp. Now, the monks are going to be very vulnerable here, of course. So will the skirmishers. Liereyy killing villagers and denying this TC again from Viper. So Liereyy has the Vill lead even though he's on his way to Imp with one of his town centers. Oh, are you kidding me? This TC is going to be denied. Liereyy pulled back to his hill for a moment there. Viper's on the way to Imp as well now. But he had to use the market to do so. One or two more villagers can come forward and finish that TC, but I don't think they're going to be able to collect resources very safely there. It's just to keep Viper off of it. Viper adding more archery ranges. I think he will go with Arbalest and Elite Skirm, and we'll probably see the same from Liereyy, though he's just starting with skirmishers, I guess. He's not making any Arbalest. These skirmishers are very vulnerable, especially in a Britain's War, because the Arbalests get the additional range, but the skirmishers, they do not get as much range. It's interesting. You're probably thinking T90 skirmishers counter archers. Like, why wouldn't skirmishers would be good? Well, they're very vulnerable. The only thing that's protecting them right now are monks and knights. And monks and knights will die to Viper's Arbalests. Has Liereyy scouted his back gold? He has not. He does have that gold, though. So I think for now, he's fine. And this is the time to take an engagement. I don't know what has happened here. Viper distracted or something, but he just chooses to fight this. He knows his units will die anyway. So he's going to get as much value from it. That's a huge loss for Viper. This TC was finished. Viper going to kill 3 villagers there on the TC. Well, that was surprising. Viper researching light cav now for these skirmishers. If Liereyy can get Arbalests now, amass some units to kill any of the melee Viper's making, like the knights and the scouts, then I really like his position. But are both players going to throw away some army now? The knights from Viper coming in, Liereyy trying to get away, but Viper, he's going to wedge himself in between, use the stop hotkey, and just begin an immediate attack. Now Lierey's trying to get conversions on these knights. Gonna force Viper away. But like I said, this is a very vulnerable composition for Liereyy. It's so weird how he's continued with this. The monks and the skirmishers are going to suffer. Viper with the attack ground as Liereyy tries to micro this. Liereyy is going to kill the Mangonel, but still, I don't like the losses he has taken. Going with full skirmisher. He is continuing with skirmishers against Viper's Knights and Light Cav. Viper is going to have to make more units after he loses these, but just look how cost-effective this has been. The entire game, Viper's been taking more cost-effective engagements. Liereyy, he's counting on the fact that skirmishers will work in a Britain's War, but he might be regretting that now. Interesting, he's getting, I guess, Light Cav himself. So I think what we'll see is probably Light Cav, skirmishers, Arbalests, and then Trebuchets here. And again, Viper, let's see, where does he have gold now? He has this gold. His main gold is gone. This is his other one, so Viper will soon be out of gold. This is Lierey's gold. This one is secured. Well, it was secured until Viper sent 3 knights here he didn't want to fight with anymore in the main fight to raid. Like, this is the top level stuff that is just amazing to see. Viper recognizes, okay, I only have 3 knights. Instead of just tanking them into a fight, he sends them to a crucial part in Lierey's eco, and he's killing so many gold vills. That's top class stuff right there. So Light Cav and skirms from Liereyy. Viper, well, he's doing pretty much the same. He hasn't invested in any more archers, of course. I said that Britain Wars often go to Imp, and when they do, it becomes very slow and campy. We're about to see that now. Luckily, the mobility of the Light Cav really helping out Viper, and he's going to kill more villagers that Liereyy built forward. Close game. And now Lierey's going Arbalest. Does he have the gold for that? Well, I don't I don't know if he's been able to follow these knights from Viper. Viper ran the knights away, and then he ran them right back in. He's gonna kill so many vills. Viper's done a lot of eco harassment over the last couple minutes. Like, that is no understatement. He's killed villagers on the front and at Lierey's base with just a few groups of units. Viper choosing to go into the Cavalier upgrade. Now, Britain Cavalier are pretty weak. They get the last defense upgrade, but they don't get bloodlines, so they don't have enough HP. But still, Cavalier, and Liereyy hasn't realized these two knights are here, killing his vills on gold. Liereyy needs to keep this castle up, and to do that, he needs to kill these trebuchets. And it's what he's going for right now. Now, Arbalests, if Liereyy gets enough of them, will do a great deal of damage versus Viper's Cavalier. Keep in mind, Viper still doesn't have his gold here. So while Liereyy is taking big eco losses, Viper does not have gold. He might need to sell. And that engagement a little bit better for Liereyy, I think, because he's able to finish off these trebuchets now. And he's pushing Viper back. Now, I want to point something out to you guys. Viper can see this gold here barely. One of the neutral golds. Liereyy, I talked about earlier how he can't see this gold. He's not scouted that yet. He's trying to scout the other golds now. Doesn't know it's in the back corner. So that could come into play. But I think the main talking point is that Viper, he's almost completely out of gold. He has 170 gold remaining there. So you have to watch on the minimap to see if Viper scrambles over here. And Viper's also researched Cavalier. He's not going to be able to create many of them. And they will die to these Arbalests. So it was a little bit unconvincing from Liereyy throughout this game with these engagements. But this is looking pretty good now. Viper's going to get woo-woo-wooed or rah-rah-rah or whatever you want to call it as he's trying to build some stables. Both players doing that at the exact same time to raid eco. But Liereyy has good map control and the score is showing it now. He's closing in again on Viper's score. There's Cavalier from Viper going to run over here. I think they're trying to get the relics as well. Viper going to get his third one, it looks like. And he's probably patrolling on this one. I think earlier he was able to pick off the one monk. I remember Liereyy had a monk there with a relic. Very close game. And here come the trebuchets from Liereyy now. He has two of them. It's so tough because there's so many counter units here. There's the light cav to counter the skirms, the Cavalier to counter the skirms. The skirms also counter the Arbalest pretty hard. So it's so tough to engage with a lot of gold units. But yeah, these Cavalier are going to get two-shotted. I don't care about their upgrades. It just doesn't matter here. They're a nice meat shield for the moment. But Lierey's going to send in his own light cav. And Viper has a lot of skirms there. Now the light cav raiding begins on the right. Viper's going to have to protect his economy. And he's building stables further to the back. Viper did find the gold, guys. And Liereyy, he's very close. Actually, he can see that with his light cav. So Liereyy knows that's there. He doesn't know about his gold in the back. Oftentimes this comes into... like, scouting comes into play every game. But sometimes it just comes down to a couple tiles. It's ridiculous. And that's what makes it all the more impressive. Guys, this is not going to end anytime soon. This is a Britain's 1v1 mirror matchup. It is just a lot of the same. So they're going to be fighting for map control. Trying to snipe vills where they can. Of course, Viper's going to want to get his gold in the middle at some point. Liereyy has it right now. But this is kind of what you expect in a Britain's mirror matchup. It never is ended early. And it always comes into a lot of counter units. What does Viper have in the left corner of the map? Stone miners. Stone miners there. So he's found the extra stone. Viper's done a little bit better job of that, but you got to be honest, this problem he probably wasn't looking for intentionally. It's so close to his base, he probably found it. And he ran over here anyway. He does know about this gold. Liereyy does not, but Liereyy has scouted most of the map. Now, it might be a bit frustrating for Liereyy because he might then assume that Viper has this and another one somewhere, like in the back corner. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Here's an outpost. He might see it. He hasn't really needed it much. And you know where Viper's sending the two light cav? Right to that gold. Right to that gold. Now Liereyy can see it. He'll have to clean that up first. Okay, so we got the Yeoman upgrade, which means that the Arbs are going to have even more range now. And Viper's going capped ram. So, if you're ever playing versus Britons and you're not Britons, making rams versus them is very effective just because of this right here. So many arbalests, so much attack on them. They patrol into the rams, and the rams are an amazing meat shield. I stress that so much. I know that Britons are kind of one of those civilizations. As a newer player, you feel like they're invincible and you just cannot beat them. But really the answer is always rams. So I think what Viper's composition will now be is capped rams, light cav, and skirmishers. The light cav to kill Lierey's skirmishers, the skirmishers to kill his Lierey's arbalests. Oh, and big raid from Viper on the right-hand side. A lot of exposed villas for Liereyy. In fact, he can't even fit this many villagers in the town center. That might force Liereyy back. Liereyy has more military, but he doesn't have mobile military at the moment. Does have this gold now, for those that are wondering. Also, everybody's trying to get that map control. Looks like he's been trying to kill gold villagers here. Viper cleaned it up. Here, he doesn't see the stone villagers, but they don't have stone any longer, so it doesn't matter. Can you please explain what means the numbers at score? K-Con, I'm not really sure what you mean. You have to ask me in between games, I guess. Nice raid from Viper for sure. He's taken Viper below, or Liereyy below 100 villagers. Now, Liereyy might struggle for wood at some stage, because this could be exposed on the left if Viper keeps raiding with the light cap, and he is. But Viper now losing access to his gold and stone and wood at the front. Oh, this is going to be a really tough game to follow now. In come the capped rams from Viper. He sees this as a perfect opportunity because the arbalests are exposed. Now in comes the light cap from Liereyy to clean that up. Wants to hold to his hill. Viper's definitely killed more units. Liereyy has a slightly better composition and map control right now. Viper has 3 relics, Liereyy has 2. Close game. But you can just tell Viper he's doing a better job at getting that map control. He's cleaning up the raids faster in his base. He's doing a lot more damage with his raids at Lierey's base. Here come more light cap from Viper. And these guys are so good. They're moving 6, 7, 8 different groups of units at one time. And down go the capped rams. And now Viper pushed back once again. Like I said, we're going to see a lot of this. There are 3 different sets of numbers at the score. Oh, I actually don't really recall. I think the second one is the team score. And obviously that's the same here because it's just 1v1s. The first one is the individual player's score. I don't know what the second score indicates. That might be population. Yeah, it looks like that's population. Assuming that's following the pop on the overlay. Yep, that's probably pop. So that shows your population. Viper raiding with the light cap on the right. Liereyy patrolling Arbalest over. We'll clean that up. And he just wants an opportunity to use his trebuchets here. But he has to be careful. The capped rams, they can kill the trebs. Liereyy just backing away there. Like I said, this is going to be very campy. I think Liereyy needs his own capped rams, honestly. Random light cap running into Lierey's base. Going to be a real pain to follow these. Viper's going to continue this as well. Building more stables on the backside now. But look, now Viper's losing villagers from Liereyy. Liereyy raiding with light cav. So non-stop, I mean, we have light cav here. We have light cav here. We have light cav here and here. And then in the middle. And then on the right. I mean, there are raids going on everywhere. It is so tough to follow. But Viper may be finding an opportunity to push this castle a bit. Sending a trebuchet forward as well. Liereyy needs to get the light cap to kill these rams. There we go. He's done so. He's still holding to his hill. Nice hill advantage for these arbalests to fire from as well. It's so cool if you just focus on those arrows. Rarely focus on it because we see it all the time, but look how awesome that looks. Shooting down this hill. Those volleys of arrows. The Viper may be sacrificing some numbers so he could push this in the middle a bit. Still killing farms here. Taking big losses himself. Will this trebuchet stay alive? Will the capped ram stay alive? Viper doesn't have light cap. This could be really tough for Viper. Now, Lierey's got a micro. That way he doesn't attack the Rams with his arbs. He wants to kill Viper's units instead. Just shows you the strength of the Arbalest from Viper, though. Because all those Light Cav got chewed up. Still, Light Cav are so important. Viper's doing a much better job at raiding Lierey's economy. Much better job at raiding Lierey's economy. But the problem is, Liereyy cannot wall off this base. It's so open. Viper's base is a little bit more secured. Now look, he's actually out of wood, I guess. Or he's struggling with wood. Viper killing these gold villagers again in the south. But in the north, he is running out of some wood, so it is important to focus on where he can get it. Viper has been behind in military numbers almost the entire game since Feudal Age, but he has more armies. He still doesn't have this gold, and he's almost out of this one. We'll be just relying on the 3 relics then. So since he'll be out of gold, that means less rams for him, and probably a lot more light cav and skirms. The Viper's done so much eco damage. I don't think Liereyy can come back from the amount of eco damage he's taking here. Look, he's at 100 population. Like, holy shit. This has snowballed so much. He's lost villagers on this wood line. He's lost villagers on gold, wood, farms. Lierey's taking some big losses, and normally you just can't come back from having 39 villagers. I wasn't even looking at the vill count. I knew that Liereyy was losing vills, but I didn't realize he lost 50 in a couple minutes. That's almost impossible to come back from now. And Lierey's going to call the GG. Wow. Like, I didn't even really point that out because I figured, okay, he's going to lose a vill here or there and he'll replenish them. But Viper hit here, 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 and I believe he was hitting this wood line too. Liereyy was struggling for safe resources pretty much the entire game. So Viper had less military but more effective the entire game. And then Liereyy, he was... Man, I mean, it did come back to Lierey's crater map and hilly map in the end, I think, because he had like nothing to secure his base. But I think Viper recognized in a Britain's war, you're never going to have one big straight up fight. So you got to just hit eco, and then he didn't even need to get his golds or hit his castle. Great job there. Great job from Liereyy. Now, the entire Imperial Age, Viper had more control with his raids, right? The entire time, he had more control with his raids. And I think that's something that Liereyy should have done a little bit earlier. Liereyy should have scouted the extra resources from Viper earlier. But that's a good first game. Now, if you're just getting here, I'll explain what we're about to see here in a moment. Let's look at the achievements. Yeah, I think Viper's APM won it for him as well, just with the light cav raids. I mean, just look at the KD. Viper probably had less golds. It was very close, I guess. But he had safer food and wood eco because he was raiding Liereyy so much. And it took much better engagements. So technologies are pretty similar. We know what happened there. The relic gold is pretty similar. It came down to just strategy and implementing that in the Imperial Age. I thought it was going to be over a lot earlier, to be honest, just because Liereyy is unconvincing with his fights in castle. But guys, now, as you can see on the overlay, we have Tato and Nikov. So we have 4 different players contributing today with some games, and I'm super pumped for this. I haven't seen Nikov play a big